A Way of Life is a coaching consultant company. We help people manage their career and business using astrology. Astrology is a holistic process that allows us to help people align with what they are passionate about. We provide the tools to build your personal development to live your best life. A Way of Life Coaching Consulting Company. For a reading or coaching, call Keisha Reed at 781-602-0986. That's 781-602-0986. Or check our website, www.awayoflife.net. That's www.awayoflife.net. A Way of Life is a coaching consultant company. Live your best life.
Peace, 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 family. How's everybody doing? I will be discussing the Sagittarius lunar eclipse full blood supermoon. That's a mouthful. But that statement alone just says so much about what we are about to embark on, family. I promise you, you won't be bored. There won't be any shortage of amazing, interesting, out of the blue situations. We are in for a ride for sure. Before I jump into that, I did want to talk about a few things that I have lined up. I don't even know if I can name them all, but right off the tippity top of my head, the most exciting, it's my birthday tomorrow. Yay, me. And we have our family business live, the grand opening for the wine business tomorrow night at 7 right here on YouTube. And if you're not already following us on our IG page for the wine cellar, it's A Wine Way of Life, and life is spelled the same way, Life. And that will be on that Facebook page. I'm super excited to get on this live with my family and have a celebration of a lifetime. We will be talking about how you can get involved, what to expect from us, and as a family, just how we plan on building our empire. So that ought to be interesting. I absolutely cannot wait. And then on the following night, the 26th, Wednesday at 6 p.m., I'm doing a collective live with Blunt and Honey Tarot. She's amazing. You're going to love her. And we'll be doing a collective Sagittarius eclipse reading. So I'll be discussing pretty much the same thing I'm going to be discussing here in a smaller portion, but she'll be doing a tarot reading for the collective, which I'm super excited about. And with the wine business, I have a few events lined up. If you want to find out more about how you can get involved, again, you definitely want to join tomorrow night. Or just get on the page where I'm posting a lot of the stuff that we do on there. I'm really, really excited about this time. I can't even tell you how so many opportunities have opened up for me already. I don't even know where to start. So it's a lot. There's a lot going on, but I'm super excited about what's to come, and hopefully you will join me on that journey. So without further ado, before I get all set up, I just want to put some things in order. All right. So the total lunar super blood moon eclipse is going to be powerful. Since eclipses are a time for endings, this is definitely going to allow things to fall. Sagittarius rules freedom, truth, law, and beliefs, just to name a few things. You can receive a message about any of these themes a month before, or a month after the 26th, or a week before, or a week after the 26th. All eclipses last about 6 months. It brings in new beginnings and can speed things up, especially with all the mutable air energy. That's just kind of the energy that comes with mutable air. The last time we had this eclipse was back in 2002. What was happening for you back then? I think in the US, was it the US? The euro got a legal tender. So there could be some issues around that leading to Bitcoin. Like I think we've already been seeing this big talk about Bitcoin and it possibly taken over, right? I think I've been talking about that since all last year because Taurus is in Uranus and that kind of rules investments. So the possibility of some kind of new money is definitely in play. This could also be environmental changes. So some new ways around that could come up. I don't know why whenever I think of Taurus and Uranus together, I think of Captain Planet. So don't judge me, people. But I always think of like these new inventive kind of ways to help us take care of our planet. I foresee that coming anytime over this next 2,000 years because it's the age of Aquarius. But with Taurus, because Taurus rules the earth, they're either being worked on now or the ideas are coming now and people are working on them and we won't see them until sometime down the line, or they can come up now and make themselves clear that, you know, this is a new way of life that we'll be living in order to keep our earth clean. Either way, secrets will come to light at this time around all things Sagittarius, honestly. But before we get into the actual Sagittarius energy, we have Saturn square Uranus. And Saturn wants us to learn patience. And Uranus doesn't do patience at all. That's a very rebellious energy. So on a grand scale, are these new ways of doing things or new ways of working that have come up over the last year, are they working? You know, me and my whole weird analogies that I have, especially because we're in Gemini season. And if you've seen my Mercury and Gemini video where I talked of how Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is the gangster. In astrology, they represent the hood, if you will. And so when I thought of this energy, I thought of a drug war or a turf war with gangs, you know, and what happens when a dealer becomes too big and pushes others out of business, right? And I feel like that's where we're at in America right now. This is how we tell if, you know, the new systems are working, by paying attention to how the government reacts to these new ideas. Because as long as people are suffering and not doing well, you don't hear from this country, right? Because that's kind of their grand plan, right? But if we're doing well, things like what's happening with Bitcoin happens. I think that's a great example because Bitcoin, if Bitcoin is so huge on a massive level, whether we see it that way or not, because it sets us free from the confines of what this country is. My guess is that they're not prepared for, right? So it's too much freedom, right? Even with the whole COVID thing, even though, you know, my prayers going to the families who lost people over COVID on a global scale. What it has brought us is freedom to choose whether we want to work or not, right? How we work, right? We kind of have all these other avenues that are suggesting new, healthier ways to do things, not just with work, but with our families too. We're talking generational, true generational wealth, which is what Bitcoin is, right? And I think on a grand scale, what's happening is they don't have a system and structure around it so that they can tax you, right? And all these other restrictions that you have to deal with, like they had so well set up with the dollar bill. And so when something that big pushes people out of business, it really causes an uproar, which is why I feel like, everybody's so against Bitcoin. But, time will tell. We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen, but I just kind of feel like we're at that impasse in life. So we really do have to pay attention and make sure that we are building sustainable ways of living, because we don't know what's going to happen. But, like with anything that comes with change, the possibility for, not so good things are always there. So that's just one way that Saturn and Uranus energy could be playing out at this time. And then we have Mercury retrograde, and Mercury in Gemini going retrograde on the 29th, if I'm not mistaken. And that's going to be squaring Neptune until July. This can bring in a lot of confusing information, right? We can feel like we're being forced into something, but there's also going to be a need to review, revise, and revisit past circumstances in order to move forward, right? I have gotten a lot of calls about this way before this eclipse came too. So people have been feeling this. And I think I've been talking about this on a global level for a really long time, even though this specific transit is not Saturn. This is the tools and ways in which we are building our life to help us get into that Saturn momentum. So Mercury is about writing, goal setting, networking, doing all the necessary things to get to those higher modalities of Saturn, which is goal setting, having a plan, structure and systems around whatever it is you build, all the necessities really to be wealthy, right? And, whatever wealth looks like to you, it can be in other ways. It doesn't always have to be about money. That is for sure, especially when we're talking about Neptune, because Neptune is all about giving back, volunteering, loving unconditionally and doing things unconditionally for people, kind of having compassion for humanity, and not being judgmental, right? So I just use money because, that's my strengths, right? That's where I have the most passion, and that's where my stories come from. But I think that whole being forced into something is really about getting more structure. That Saturn wants us to kind of build for stability overall, right? On a low vibration, there could be a lot of intentional deceit whenever Mercury and Neptune get together, non-intentional deceit, scapegoating, self-sabotage, and escapism, right? And these are kind of all the things that we do to run away from our issues. And I don't even think at this point, if I've learned anything from these transits, it kind of just been repeating over and over in different ways. It's really not so much about we're on this low vibration because we're low vibrational, but we could be experiencing these low vibrational things because we don't have the knowledge too, right? Like we're learning on a system that still is that old system that is work for somebody else, do things for under a structure that wasn't really the healthiest, right? It worked for a while, it was there and did what it had to do, but now we're being forced to work in a different way, right? And that's change. Like I said, change is hard, right? So I don't see this even in a negative way. We just have to unlearn a lot of really bad habits that aren't going to work for us moving into what the universe is trying to bring to us now, right? On a high vibration, we've gained some wisdom about things from the past. I don't know about anybody else, right? as I mentioned, I'm on this whole wealth building journey. And if you've been listening to any of my videos, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I want to say this time last year, oh, I see some people in the chat. Let me make sure nobody's leaving any messages. So this time, last year around December was the last time we had this eclipse. And right around that time, I had just finished my website. And I want to say 6 months before that, right? I had been looking for somebody to design my website for what I was getting ready to embark on with the astrology stuff. And I paid somebody $2,000 to do my website, and he never did it. And argued with me the whole time that, you know, he just got so busy, but the truth was he had something more interesting that came up, which I found out obviously down the line. And he wanted me to wait. Like he thought he was going to be able to play this out in such a way that he'd build my website when he got ready. Anyway, that led to me having to find somebody else, which I was able to get done for free, by the way. I didn't have to pay twice, thank God. But all the work that went into building that website, I learned a lot in that process about what it takes. When I think of going back to that Saturn energy, you know, the hard work it takes. She's Miss Rebel. She's making the faces, right? It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. The hard work that it takes to build something, right? Build something that's worth last, you know, that's going to last, that's going to bring you more value, right? That's what Saturn is on a very basic general level, right? But it's all of the steps that come with hard work, right? A step-by-step process, planning, right? And that was, to me, every sense of the word of what I had to do when I had to put together this website. Like, I didn't think it was going to be that difficult. I just wanted it done because I knew that I needed it so that I could have a business. But the more I learned, magical mermaid came back. Hi. Bless your triumphant spirit. Thank you. Thank you. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But the hard work that it took to put into getting that website up together is just one of those things you don't really forget, right? When you go through something like that, it's like, oh, and then you get to put together all those little pieces, right? Because you always have the idea of what it is you're trying to build. When we all think of starting a business or anything that we're passionate about, you know, we always have the idea, but what we don't know is all the additional things that come to help to bring life to this idea. And I think when I think of this time, all of these transits together, what they're showing us is that, you know, it's not just that one time, right? Because when you think about generational wealth, it's about having 7 different incomes, right? And however that formulates in some way, form or fashion, these steps need to be taken, right? And so when I was building the wine business and I came to this piece where I was like, oh, I got to make another website. I wanted to cry. I was like, wait. Is there anything we can do to make this not like the first time? So it's always so important to remember what we're learning from this process, whatever it is, even if it's not this in this kind of way, but like just the steps at the very least, because those specific steps, even I'm finding now where I'm trying to build the wine business, those things don't change. They are consistent to your success with everything that you do. And that's how I feel about this Mercury retrograde squaring Neptune. Like, I don't feel like it's anything bad, right? Because overall, the bigger goal is to build the dream, right? That's what Neptune is about, on a higher vibration. You're building something like, how can you give back to the community, to the collective, right? What's your strength? What are you good at that you're going to give back into the world? And within that process, there's always going to be some level of work that you have to put into that. And sometimes, that, unfortunately, it's not always the best of situations, but I think those are the lessons in which we learn from, right? All those lower vibrational things that can be seen as, self-sabotage because you're not moving or you're not making any steps. If you even take it to a spiritual level, like some people will sit down and be like, you know what, I know I got a lot to do today. Okay, but this is self-care, and I'm going to meditate today. I'm not going to deal with, all that stuff that comes with building the dream right now because I need to take care of me. So I just feel like there's so many ways that this can also be looked at. And for me personally, what I've learned is those down times, the times where it feels like maybe things aren't working out or there's some kind of confusion, those are the indications to take a break and normalizing that, right? Those are the things that actually get me through. For me, I take naps. I don't care. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to take a nap because I'm not dealing with all that right now. And then I get up and I get back to it. Or it's just knowing how to take a break, knowing when to take a break, but not to look at these other lower vibrational things as a negative. Although, there are some people out there, right? We don't want to be very Neptunian, as Neptune can be just like la-di-da, there are those possibilities where, those actual things are being taken place. But on a higher vibration, I also feel like that's a part of learning. That is all, it's all a part of the process. No matter how we look at it, there's got to be some kind of negative to offset that positive. And it just depends on how you look at it. That makes all the difference. So that was my whole long explanation about that. But Mercury retrograde can also bring some news around travel, import, export, legislation, law, and shipping, especially foreign, because Sagittarius rules foreign country, long distance travel. It could even be some immigration laws that come back up into play. Long distance communication, long distance import, export. Even shipping by sea, social media changes. We can see with that could be considered the long distance communication. They could, I hope they don't put those stupid restrictions up about, what people can say. I remember that coming up last year sometimes too, the restrictions on speaking, what you say. They'll cut you off, that type of thing. I think that if that does happen and it's like official and people are finding it hard to do the things that they have to do on any of these social media platforms, that could cause a separation, because then we would have to find the platforms like, what was the one? I think there's 4BTube, which is a Black-owned YouTube. I think there's another Facebook. I think it's called Unite the 99. And what's the other one they had? It was only on, oh my God, what is the name of that platform? It's going to drive me absolutely crazy that I can't think of the name. It was only on iPhones for a really long time, but I think just over the last few weeks, you can now get it on Android. It's like it was this whole big thing, community about, but it's like podcasts. You can't see or do videos. You could just speak, and it's like a big group. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Clubhouse. That's the name of it. I could see that growing more if they stop putting up more restrictions. But that's a possibility. There's also a lot of mutable energy during this eclipse. So mutable planets are about change and adaptability. They will either adapt and adjust, or reject and run away. The signs this will be affecting the most are Geminis, Pisces, Virgo, and Sagittarius, because those are all the mutable signs in the zodiac. You could be asking yourselves, what do I need to do? And do I want to do it? And if I don't want to do it, I'm going to find another option. That is so me. Just describe me to a T. Telling all my secrets. It can be exciting, but over the top with that Jupiter energy, because it expands whatever it touches. We could be asking, how do we believe in these new changes? Overall, we're letting go, but possibly may feel like we don't really have all the answers. And again, that's all that Neptune energy. And I think we're really being called to build up stronger intuition, stronger beliefs, stronger confidence with that Neptune energy, because on a higher vibration, we are just very intuitive, like, to any extent of what a woman is, because I see Neptune energy as a feminine energy, like how moms just know that their kids is doing something they ain't got no business. And they be like, you got eyes behind your back? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. To me, that's just the higher vibration of just knowing, right? Life happens, things are going to happen. Not everything is going to be perfect, but the build up to that is what I just keep hearing every time I think about Neptune. But yeah. I'm looking at my notes, guys. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Make sure I'm not missing anything. I just wrote that on my stories about us working on our power of discernment. Yes. Oh my God, I need to put that right there, just like that, and let that sit there. Because it's so true. I think over the next few years, Neptune and Pisces is strong here. And it has been really since, I think even since before last year, maybe 2018. Don't quote me on that. But Neptune has been in its own sign for quite some time now, and it's not going anywhere. It's just like, y'all gonna learn today. So, yes, absolutely. And that's going to be tough. But I think, the bottom line is kind of like making it a way of life, right? No pun intended. I go back to Karate Kid when I think of that one part in the movie when he had him keep picking up his coat from dropping it, right? Kind of like going back to those bad habits that we've learned. We have to rethink the way we do things, the way we live our lives. And that to me is karate. That to me is Neptune, and on a bigger scale. But, mastering that process, live right, live by, what your beliefs are, live by your intuition, give back, all those kind of things that, I don't want to say make you a better person, but make you a good person. How about that? That's just how I feel about Pisces energy in general. But as things fall away, it changes you at the same time. And that's when the answers, I think, come in. As we master this process, we kind of become essentially who we're meant to be, in a sense. You should also pay attention to your health at this time. Anytime there's an eclipse, especially one as strong as this one, making sure that you're drinking a lot of water and just taking care of yourself. Health issues can come up. You might be required to let go of any old views. I recommend looking at what area of life this is happening in for you, or you could just get a reading. Just saying. Oh, actually, I have all 12 signs, horoscopes for Sagittarius eclipse in my Cosmic Community Connection group for $5 until the end of May. And then, that goes away. So If you want to know where this is, what area of life this is happening in for you, I also suggest you look at your sun, moon, and your rising sign, because it gives you a full picture of the possibilities of what's going on, and how, and the outcome. But yeah. And just before I finish the rest of that statement, I want to make sure of spirits or spirit of discernment. Yes. Yep. I hear you, Rebel. I got you. It says, I like that, a way of life. Yes, to edify. Yes, I like that word. I like that word right there. Very important, I think. It's an elevation overall, right? We're evolving. We're evolving into these new, beautiful possibilities of, what humans are capable of doing. I actually think this is going to get way weirder. But I'm going to leave that to my Aquarius conversation. I'm working on doing when Aquarius moves into, when Neptune moves into Aquarius, Jesus. Because I think that's going to be, oh boy, y'all think we having an awakening now. We're just getting started. So I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to come on and do that. I have been, I got a lot going on, guys. But yeah. Essentially, we're being asked to let go of something that's not working for us anymore. Okay, now finally into the eclipse energy. So this Sagittarius eclipse could be about the meaning of life. You might be required to discover something, like discover a different meaning to your life. This could also be related to your ambition, like not like Saturn or Mars ambition, but kind of going back to, it's Sagittarius, so your culture, how you connect with other people, your experiences in some kind of way, life experiences in some kind of way. This could also be related to contributing to society. What are you contributing? How can you contribute? And how does that relate to your meaning of life? If you are getting this new meaning of life, which I still haven't been able to put my finger on, like I know what it is, but I haven't been able to put it into words yet. Every time I try to describe it, it's like, you know what? I know what I'm trying to say. But it's coming though. I think we'll get more pieces of the puzzle when we have the Gemini eclipse. But Sagittarius also rules morals and ethics. So do I have the right mindset? And examining that, what that looks like to you. You might meet a guru or someone to guide you on any specific journey. This could be something about travel or adventure or both. And, unfortunately, this also can mean travel restrictions from COVID, like moving abroad. I know I actually had two clients to tell me they're moving. One's moving to Greece and the other one is in Mexico. So moving could be coming up out of the country, or studying abroad, or just studying in general. Even just travel in general. So with this, especially with Mercury going retrograde on the 29th, just expect delays or some kind of restriction, like you might have to be vaccinated type thing, especially if you're going out of the country. If it's more within, I don't know. It just could be a lot of delays, things of that nature. But education could come up in a major way. I think I've been talking about that on a pretty grand scale, because the last time we had this eclipse was when the No Child Left Behind Act was put in. So that could be changing. Obviously, we've seen how education has changed on a pretty big scale. I think we can learn a lot from other countries too, incorporating more culture in our lives, perhaps doing like your genealogy, and finding out who you are, where you're from. I can definitely see a lot of those things coming up to help you build this new, you know, she said yippee. I freaking love this. All these new things that are coming up. I think, there's restrictions all around because it's new, but that's all a part of the process. If you haven't checked out the website, make sure you check us out, see what's going on, subscribe, become a part of the newsletter so you can see all of our updates. And if you're not already following us on IG, can do that at A Way of Life, and life is spelled LYFE, the number 5. I hope you found this information helpful. Peace.
A Way of Life is a coaching consultant company. We help people manage their career and business using astrology. Astrology is a holistic process that allows us to help people align with what they are passionate about. We provide the tools to build your personal development to live your best life. A Way of Life Coaching Consulting Company. For a reading or coaching, call Keisha Reed at 781-602-0986. That's 781-602-0986. Or check our website, www.awayoflife.net. That's www.awayoflyfe.net. A Way of Life is a coaching consultant company. Live your best life.